Now, one other kind of cool thing is that Kenny Singleton, a friend of mine from Yankee Stadium, is calling it quits after the season. He said today on Twitter, Ken Singleton 29 or K Singleton 029, "This will be my final season of calling baseball games," Singleton wrote on Twitter. And he said, "I've been playing baseball and we're talking baseball ever since I was 4 years old." 4 years old, imagine that. He said, "It's time for this enjoyable ride to end. And thanks for allowing me into your homes and businesses. It's been my pleasure." By the way, Ken Singleton on Twitter is at .29 all time. That's 29 all time. He, by the way, had a 15-year career that started with the Mets, but really kicked up with the Orioles in the late 70s and 80s, where he made 3 All-Star appearances, finished runner-up in the 1979 MVP race. A great hitter, which is why I thought him comparing the O's offense of, today to back then was kind of like, well, he should know, right? He's having an offensive presence with that Oriole team, which, by the way, won in a World Series with him in 1983. But how did he get into the broadcast booth? Well, if you're in the Yankee organization or somehow involved with them, the roads do really lead to the suite of George M. Steinbrenner.
He looked at me and he said, right to my face, he said, our fans aren't going to like you. And I said, Mr. Steinbrenner, I don't understand. He says, I can't recall all the bad things you used to do to us while I was playing for Baltimore. And I said, with all due respect, Mr. Steinbrenner, I was just doing my job. And he says, well, you did it very well. And but then he started to mellow, and he asked me if I knew somebody. And I said, no, I didn't know them. And he said, well, when you get to know them, you're going to like them very much. And Mrs. Steinbrenner gave me the opportunity to work on Yankee baseball starting in 1997, and I've been there ever since, and I'm really appreciative of the opportunity. I think what he really knew was he knew I was from New York, and I think he wanted to give a guy from New York a break, and I will be forever grateful for that opportunity to work for the Yankees in that regard, and it's been just a pleasure, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
And so, I mean, let's be honest, George Steinbrenner, Mr. Steinbrenner, has given a lot of guys from New York a break to make things happen. He gave Darryl Strawberry a break. And Darryl now has his life together and is preaching the word of God, the word of Christ, to many who are lost. So what a story that is. We've got Rene Groen, who also had his life touched by George Steinbrenner. My dad and I had the fortune of having George Steinbrenner's goodness touch us and impact our lives for nearly 10 and more years, 18 years ago. So it's kind of cool to be in a company like with Kenny Singleton, a great guy to talk to, by the way, as he reflected on his path, his road that went through George Steinbrenner's suite.